You're listening to KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine.
The opinions and views expressed in this program do not reflect those of KUCI, its management, or the UC Board of Regents. To find out more about this talk show or other talk shows broadcasting on KUCI, log on to our website at kuci.org or check out the latest program guide.
This is Ashton Marcus, and I'm on location at Pacific Resident Theater with the world premiere of Andy Warhol's Tomato.
Hi, my name is Ashton Marcus. I'm with KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine, and I'm here with
Derek Cheriton. Yeah, well, I'm playing Andy in Andy Warhol's Tomato here at Pacific Resident Theater, and I'm currently holding a garlic knot, and it's the opening gala.
So what's your take on Andy Warhol?
He's a very unique individual with a lot of very interesting ideas. Some of the quotes I've seen from him are amazing. Like he does the silk screening, which is repeated images over and over. And one of his quotes is, "Isn't life just a series of images that repeat as they or change as they repeat?" Yeah, he's a very interesting guy. I read his biography, and it's interesting. Yeah.
So, question: my viewers decided to come by and see this piece. So, what should they expect to see?
It's a two-man show, and it's set in the 40s because that's when Andy Warhol was 19, which is it's a younger Andy Warhol, so it's not the our known version of him that has been in the media. So there's kind of a little room to play for me in there, but yeah, they should expect it's a show, emotionally charged show between two artists.
I agree with that. My son actually goes to music school. Every now and then I see some of these kids who are like prodigies. Like, they can play the piano, they play Beethoven when they're 5, but there's something missing about them. It's almost like that parents force them. Do they really have the passion in them? What drives them? There's something missing. What is it? And ever since I thought about it, I was thinking about what makes an artist an artist. I mean, do they have to be driven? Do they have to be talented? Do they have to just be obsessed? Do they have to suffer pain and passion over their art? What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, pain's part of life, so you just need to be human to feel that. But I think you do have to have a passion for it. So you can be forced to play the piano when you're younger, but when you get older, if you don't have the passion, then I don't know, if you're not an artist, but I don't think you would qualify yourself as a piano artist if you're not passionate about it. So I think it's passion. I think it's something you can't live without, sort of thing. Something like love. It's a different kind of love that your life needs in order to function happily.
Because I saw that tonight. It was not just an artist who was basically driven, who was just basically born differently with, I'm just touched by God or something. But there was another artist who was like, I'm just built this way. I don't know. I just can't think about anything else but this. I mean, I'm a hard-working guy, and I want to try to be a normal, ordinary person, but I can't because, that's me too. I mean, it just showed the soul of a person, and it's different from some other people. But other people can identify, because some people are passionate about cooking. Some people are passionate about food. Some people are passionate about football. And they all identify with that. You know what I mean about that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because basically I just saw that. If my viewers come by and see this, they'll see a guy who actually talks about baseball the same way some people talk about art. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So basically, I just thought it was beautiful. I thought that the two actors, you and your co-star, were fantastic. Also thought, some people say not a whole lot happened tonight, but it wasn't about that. You actually saw a glimpse of something. You just saw a glimpse of art. That's basically even some of the music you heard. Sometimes it was a classical piece of music. It just came right at the end. It was just beautifully done.
Yeah. That was the director, Dana. She had to fit that choral section in there, and it is beautiful. It really wrapped the whole thing up nice with a bow.
Well, once again, I love the performance. I got the performance, too. And I got you also. Thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Hi, my name is Ashton Marcus. I'm with KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine, and I'm here with
Vince Milwaukee. I wrote Andy Warhol's Tomato.
Questions. Why did you decide to write this piece anyway?
I decided to write this piece because I wanted to tell the story between an artist who was in hiding and an artist who was out of hiding. The artist who was out of hiding brings the one in out. If that makes sense.
Yeah, actually, I love this piece because, again, first of all, not a whole lot happened. It wasn't like people died at the end, because I love theater that's soul-crushing. wasn't anything like that. But I just, for some strange reason, I just like this piece because it kind of examined a person, what makes him different, what makes him tick. I mean, because art is like, you really can't, you can't record art in a computer program and just have it play and then just kick out art. But what is it about it? Is it you're touched by God? Is it like you're born that way? Is it you're learned? Is it your suffering? Your suffering does that. What are your thoughts on that?
I think that you are. I think you're born that way. I really do. I think it's deep in your soul. And that's the thing with this piece is you have this bartender, who has been touched with this gift of art, but can't articulate it at this period of time and where he's at. And it was only with the help of the young Andy Warhol that brings that out in him. So yeah, I think you are born with it, and I think it takes someone like an Andy Warhol, young Andy Warhol, to help you cultivate that and be proud of that, and stand up for what you believe in and what you do.
Also like the fact that the story wasn't about Andy Warhol. I mean, he was in it, and he was a big part of it, but I think the real story is about this guy who basically can do art, but no one appreciated it. No one knew. It's like these artists who basically, they paint, no one knows about it until they die. And then suddenly the world famous, where were you when I was alive? You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing. I mean, what I was most interested in was, who was Andy Warhol before he was Andy Warhol? And I took a slice from his life, and he helped this guy become who he is. Because in that community, and I grew up in that community, you really can't be an artist without people throwing spears and daggers at you and making you feel different. And it was only a young Andy Warhol who let him come out and be who he was.
Yeah, believe it or not, I still don't know why I like this so much. Because again, usually I don't like it when everyone's good. I like when there's evil people in it. I like villains. I like complex characters who coming out in characters and funny voices and all that. No, these actors did a fantastic job. So they were fantastic. But again, I don't know why I like this so much, because it's about two ordinary guys, two ordinary artists. Granted, one artist was outstanding in what he did and all that, and kind of revolutionized his form of art and all that. But again, can you help me? Why do you think I liked it so much?
I think anybody that has a dream and wants to become more in life and do what they want to do in life and create, I think they will identify with this piece, because we've all been in that place where we've felt insecure about what we're doing. I don't care if you're a mathematician, you're a peace officer, or you're an artist. Everyone has felt that in their soul, and allowing someone to be proud of who they are and stand up for what they are and be out there, I think that's the most important thing, and I think that's what people identify with.
I agree, and not just painters and writers, great cooks. There's some housewives, fantastic cooks. Everyone loves their food, but again, it comes from the art. That's why they're so wonderful. And I think people like that, the common man will understand this. Anyone who takes care in what they do, not because they're paid, just because they love what they do. They're passionate about what they do. You know what I mean by that?
Yeah, absolutely, without a doubt. Everybody's got a dream, and to be allowed to express that dream, it's a magical thing. I mean, it makes life worth living, because if you can't express who you are and what you want to do in this life, that's a real tragedy.
Well, once again, I really love this piece. I love the way actors performed it. I love the way you wrote it. Thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Ashton Marcus. I'm with KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine. And I'm here with...
Hi, I'm Keith Stevenson. I'm in the world premiere of Vincent Malaki's Andy Warhol's Tomato at Pacific Resident Theater. And we're here tonight at our opening gala party.
Great. And which character you play?
I play Bones Bonino, the owner of this bar in Pittsburgh in 1946, where he meets a young Andy Warhol after he's passed out on the sidewalk. Bones is he's a hidden artist. He lives in this world that's very masculine, very gruff, and works among steel workers and works in a bar, a very ultra masculine place. But he has the soul of an artist. He writes secretly in his basement, not only slogans, which he's attracted to, that sort of jingle advertising stuff, but he writes these short stories that are very personal, and he's terrified to tell anyone about them because he doesn't know what anyone would think of him with this little secret of being this secluded writer.
I loved your performance because, usually I've seen artists where they're like these wild-eyed, eccentric people. There's actually artists just like you who basically, they're just born differently. Something's in them that has to come out. And so many normal people identify with that. It's like, people who can cook. They're just fantastic cooks. It's driven by them, but they identify with people like your character.
Yeah. Well, this character is partly based on the playwright Vince himself, but also his father. His father was lived in this environment in Pittsburgh, as Vince did. He grew up around there. And like I said, it was steel workers, a lot of rough and tumble sort of living, but secretly his dad would write these jingles in the basement. And so Vince wrote this play. It was born of that idea of his father, but also there's really a piece of Vince in this character as well, emerging as an artist from that sort of industrial suburb of Pittsburgh.
If my viewers decide to come by and see this piece, what should they expect to see?
I think this is a very touching story about two men that are actually a young man and an older man who are from totally different sides of the spectrum, but they find a common ground and develop this friendship based on sort of pulling out each other's best parts of themselves and parts that they keep hidden from others. And they have an understanding of each other. And in a way, they both walk away with an awakening of sorts.
This is actually an unusual piece for me because, the pieces I usually like are like soul-crushing. They're like people who die. Everyone dies at the end. That's the kind of pieces I like. This piece, it wasn't like that, but I loved it because it showed basically what an artist was. And it's like internally in me, things are struggling. Like, I'm actually trying to write a piece. Yeah. I'm dying inside, basically. That's what art is like. Yeah. That's what you saw. You didn't see everyone die at the end, but you saw some things in them just struggling, being born, and some dying. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's not. There's not a massive tragedy. It's just these tiny little heartbreaks that build up every day. Disappointments and sorrows that sort of weigh on your heart and that you hide from the world. So this is about those being exposed and in a way healed. That's what I love about this piece.
Well, I loved it myself, and actually, a lot of people would say who was my favorite character. Probably people would say Andy Warhol, just because he was so vibrant, so bigger than life, so successful, so artistic. But actually, I would say I liked your character more because it showed people like struggling through their entire life with an artist's soul in them. No one recognized them. It's still there, and they do outstanding work. It's just no one knows about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think a lot of artists would identify with Bones. You know what I mean? Especially in a town like Los Angeles, where you want to be seen as an artist, but it's tough to get in the door to do that. And I think a lot of artists in this town would identify with Bones.
I think a lot of America would too. Well, once again, I love the performance. I love your performance because it contrasted Andy Warhol's flamboyantness, his larger than life, with a real down-to-earth guy, solid, conservative, but at the same time, there was something in him that connected with Andy Warhol, and you see they were both the same, inside, deep down inside. So I just loved your performance tonight.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
All right, thank you once again for being on the show.
Thank you. Thank you.
Andy Warhol's Tomato will be playing at Pacific Resident Theater from August 3rd to September 29th. For more information, go to www.pacificresidenttheater.com. This is Ashton Marcus, and I'm on location at the Antaeus Theater Company for their presentation of The Caucasian Circle.
Hi, my name is Ashton Marcus. I'm with KUCI, 88.9 FM in Irvine. And I'm here with
Lisa Seneca. I'm a company member here at Antaeus, and I'm playing Grusha in The Caucasian Chuck Circle. She is tough. She's a survivor. She's compassionate and kind, but she's not perfect. She's human. She's not a saint, but she is a good person in a difficult situation.
If my viewers decide to come by and see this piece, what should they expect to see?
A big, epic spectacle unlike anything they've seen in the theater in a very, very long time. There's always something to look at. There's always something to think about. And I think you will be very highly entertained, and it will make you think and feel.
I agree. Basically, it's almost like, how Jules Verne, they say he was the Steven Spielberg of his time. So if you take a look at his works, it just was like a movie back then, because they didn't have movies back then. But this piece was like a movie in a sense. It took you to mountaintops. It took you to wars. It took you to battles, and you guys enacted it very beautifully.
Thank you very much. I agree. I think that's a very good assessment. I mean, there is so sort of a filmic quality about it because we're creating all of these landscapes and we're asking the audience to use their imagination and go with us in these kind of big things that we're asking you to believe that we're creating.
Well, I also like the story because again, it had wholesome values, but it also, again, it had universal themes to it. That we're always dealing with poverty, we're always dealing with injustice, we're always dealing with we have this problem and no one will solve it. But again, this piece kind of just brings you into a world where things kind of work out.
Yeah, I agree. It has. I think ultimately that's why it's a moving play. It's not just an intellectual play. It asks you to think about these major human issues that are relatable for anybody and everybody.
Once again, I love your performance. I love all the actors' performance because again, they took us into the world. There's no way to do this because you can't bring a mountain on the stage. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so you guys were the only ones who did it, and you brought us in it. You guys did it wonderfully.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
All right, thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Ashton Marcus. I'm with KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine. And I'm here with
Steve Hoffendahl. Come out and see Caucasian Jock Circle. We got a great production here. Hope you can make it.
Great, and which character do you play?
I play Azdak and the singer.
What's your take on your favorite characters?
Well, this is probably my favorite character, not just because I'm doing it right now, but it's a really good character. It's very funny, and it's a great play, which I avoid reading in college. You're supposed to read it, if you have a theater background. And it's really a fun play to do, and people should come see it.
I really like the way you played your character because you didn't make him too noble, but you also didn't make him too slimy or greedy. You know what I mean? You made him like a real person, like a real human being.
Oh, good. Thank you. That's what I was trying to do. Yeah, thanks. Yeah. There's enough going on. You don't need to. That's the cool thing about the writer is that all the characters really are real human beings, and they all got things built into them which make them really human. And there's my favorite parts of the play that I watch when I'm off stage watching are moments where someone either rises to an occasion or caves in and can't get it together, and it's unexpected. And this writer's really good at that.
If my viewers decide to come by and see this piece, what should they expect to see?
They should expect to see a really dynamic, theatrical, innovative, wonderful production of a classic play that's not done very much because it's so huge and it's such a big kind of spectacle play, but it's very intimate. Our theater's very intimate, and they'll really like it. It's like a nice living theatrical fable that they'll dig.
Yeah, I agree. It's almost like seeing a movie or reading a novel. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, going, like, I guess almost like a Russian play where it goes through an entire war. Where you see the interesting characters. Not perfect, not totally cartoonish and all that, but entertaining.
Yeah.
And also good moral values. It has a basic value that's universal and something that everyone can enjoy.
Yeah, I agree. That's exactly. Couldn't say it better.
Well, once again, really loved your performance.
Thank you, man.
Yeah. Thank you very much for being on the show.
Okay, thank you. All right, nice to meet you.
Hi, my name's Ashton Marcus. I'm with KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine. And I'm here with?
My name's Turner Frankowski. I'm in Caucasian Jock Circle. This play it's a wild ride. It's a roller coaster. It's Brecht, which is so incredibly timely. Come out and see it. It's unlike any theater piece you've ever seen. It's not naturalism. It's absurd. It's wacky. It's so much fun, and it actually has a lot to say about our time.
Which characters you play?
I play a lot of parts. Everyone in this play plays so many parts. But my main parts are Shava, which is Azdak's assistant, the judge's assistant, and I play a lot of fiddle, and I also play a beggar.
Interesting. So how did you guys come up with the music to this? Because it was actually very well done.
Thank you. We had to do a lot of research about this particular region of the world, which is the Caucasus Mountains, which is Georgia, Armenia, and Azerbaijan. There's a lot of Russian influence and a lot of Asian influence. It's this really good crossroads. So a lot of it was just spent YouTubing music from this region of the world and developing and seeing what sort of music patterns and chord progressions that they use. It was a really challenging research project, and also just sort of pulling and slowing. There's this great thing on YouTube where you slow down the video and really you can learn it really, really well. So it was a complex and long process, but it involved a lot of research.
Yeah, because I noticed the music actually set the meter to the entire play. There's speech patterns, there are movement patterns, they're marching, they're dancing. You know what I mean?
It is a musical. I mean, it really is. It's not a musical like that we see on Broadway, but it really is a play but with a lot of music. And in that way, it's also very cinematic and grand and epic as well.
If my viewers decide to come out and see this piece, what should they expect to see?
They should see something that's going to blow their mind, that's going to make them think, that's going to make them laugh, that's going to make them feel for something. And if you've never seen a Brecht play, and if you've never seen a play directed by Stephanie Schroyer, you got to come see the show.
Yeah, well, I really enjoyed myself. Again, this was more like, say, something from Jules Verne, where you just go to a wonderful place, you experience the culture, the people, but also you experience a bit of the trauma and basically the injustice going on.
Yeah. I think this play has a lot to do with how an individual's actions affect other things, and a lot of what John Apicella was talking about is how you might think you're doing something good, like a decision might be good, but it can actually be perceived in a different way. Like Grusha takes the child because there's chaos and a coup d'etat that's happening, war is happening, but then you're like, well, you have no right to take that child, and that the whole play stems from that decision for her to take the child, and it's really interesting how that resonates with present day situations, because our politicians and community members are making decisions that actually have more grand reactions than we think that they do, and affect us in many ways, and that's what the play is about.
Well, again, I really enjoyed myself. It was entertaining. It was actually, again, something I bring my son to.
Okay.
So I had a very enjoyable evening today. And I really enjoyed your performances also.
Cool. Thanks so much for coming out. We really appreciate it. It was fun.
Yeah. Also enjoyed the music too.
Great. Thank you. It was great.
Thank you very much for being on the show.
Yeah, thanks. Bye.
Hi, my name is Ashton Marcus. I'm with KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine. I'm here with
Claudia Elmore. I'm an actress in Los Angeles, graduated from the School of Dramatic Arts at USC, which is similar to a lot of us here. And I grew up in Hawaii, and I'm now sort of an LA local after the amount of years that have passed.
Great, and which characters did you play?
I played the governor's wife, Aniko, who was a northern mountain peasant woman, farmer, and I'm part of the ensemble.
So what's your take on the governor's wife?
I'm really glad. I just talked to somebody here, and I was happy to hear that he thought that the play represented both right and left sides, which was something I was worried about, particularly because of characters like the governor's wife in the play that are sort of one-dimensional, at least seemingly written that way. They don't have more lines to kind of express their thoughts. It's kind of just a very sort of strictly like, this is very much a strong point of view, and the way I love my child is I would think peculiar to many people listening, but I think that there's an argument to be had that relates to today, that there are people that don't have the same views about how to raise their kids, and it doesn't necessarily make them wrong or quote-unquote bad.
I really like your performance because I always love anti-heroes, and I love villains, and I love character actors. You really made yourself into a character. I mean, not to the point that you were shrill, not to the point you were one-dimensional. I actually thought you actually put a lot of depth in your character.
I'm super happy to hear that, because this is our first time being able to talk to the audience. We've been doing previews and haven't been able to come out. That means a lot, and I definitely wanted people to not just write her off as a stereotype, but have a little fun, but also relate on some level, that there's some pang, that there's some kind of connection to her.
There was actually, remember the old story about Solomon, the wisdom of Solomon, where,
Yes.
There was a little baby there that had two mothers,
Yes.
and Solomon said, just chop the baby in half, give both half.
Well, I do know the story of Solomon, but I'm actually really glad you bring that up, because I was making an argument to the director. I was like, now, there are lots of kids in downtown LA, I live in this area, that get abducted. There's trafficking, human trafficking. And anytime you see it on the news, the little kid is right behind the mama, and he gets snatched right out of the door, and the mama turns around, and there's no frickin' way that mom's not going to reach out and try to yank that kid back in. And as far as I'm concerned, the governor's wife operates on that level. And she's not thinking about I'm going to rip him in two. She's just thinking there's no way I'm going to let this woman have this kid. You know?
I guess so, but I think the wisdom of Solomon was that, you know, it's basically the wisdom of Solomon wasn't, oh, I know, is because she was so kind that she's the biological mother. It's more like she's the one who should raise this kid. Yes. She's the one who loves him the most. Who cares who the biological mother is? Just give it to her, you know what I mean?
Yes, I do. And we all, originally reading the play, felt that way. Like, of course Grusha should have this baby. He's gonna be loved. But my argument, or discovering the play and playing the play, makes you go, well, Governor's wife loves him too. Nobody knows what that life will be like. How they are behind closed doors. How she loves her baby.
Well, I really love the performance. I love your performance too. Thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you so much. Nice to meet you.
Hi, my name is Ashton Marcus. I'm with KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine, and I'm here with...
My name's George Villas. As you know, we've met a few times. I was last seen at Theater 40 in a few shows in a play called It Is Done. I've worked at A Noise Within at Pacific Resident Theater and now at Antaeus. Very grateful to have Antaeus open the doors to me here and have Stephanie Schroyer consider me for Brett's Caucasian Chalk Circle.
Great. And which characters did you play?
Oh, well, we all played a number of characters. I was the monk, Shava, the old merchant, and the wounded man in the prologue.
What's your take on your favorite characters?
I don't have any favorite characters because all the characters are so equally important in a play like this. But there's something special about the monk because though he seems a little bit inebriated and having fun, he has a real wisdom about what is going on in the scene, and so he's probably my most fun to play, the most ironic and a little controversial.
If my viewers decide to come by and see this piece, what should they expect to see?
They should expect to see a complete epic theatrical experience. This is a collaborative ensemble piece, and really it takes everybody to tell this incredible story. So they should expect to hear a fable and a story that's told collectively.
First of all, you're going to hear talks about inequality. You know, basically about what the aristocracy or the upper class should be doing, what the lower class should be doing. You know, basically who's carrying what, and basically why life is kind of miserable.
Yeah.
But it'll tell you a bit about, it'll tell you other things, like good moral values, about if you're a good person, sometimes things do work out, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is there's such an imbalance in regard to the power structure, and I think this play really examines that, because even though the peasants and the people with less, they're the ones that have the highest moral quality and the highest ethical character quality. And so you can't weigh any kind of moral justice based on success. There's a real interesting element in this play that deals with fairness and justice, and what's that difference between fairness and justice.
Actually, something also came to my mind. I've been thinking about this a long time. You know that old story when you were a kid? They told you about, the wisdom of Solomon, where there was his baby, and there was two women who were saying to the mother. Yeah. Solomon said, cut the baby in half and give each one the half. Yeah. And the one who said, no, don't do that, give it to the other one. She was the one who was the real mother. But actually, was she really the real biological mother there? It never said that. It never, you know what I mean?
It never really is clear, but, who's really entitled to it? Is it one who's the biological mother or the one who is willing to care for the child in the best way? Because you want the child to have the best quality of care, but not just to be neglected because of its birth mother. So it challenges your position in regard to right and wrong.
Yeah, interesting, but everyone just always says, oh, Solomon was so wise because he found out the real mother. Yeah. That's the only way you can find... No, that wasn't true. No. He was wise because he knew very well this is what's best for the kid.
That's right, really, and that's the most important thing right there, is that regardless of the parents, regardless of the situation, what about what is best for the child? And the child's needs supersede everybody else's in this play. And that's the real beauty, because that's the birth of life, is the child to have an opportunity.
Well, I really enjoyed myself tonight, and I enjoyed your performance also. Yeah, thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to see you, and I look forward to the next time as well.
Hi, my name is Ashton Marcus. I'm with KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine. I'm here with...
I'm Michael Khachanov, one of the ensemble members of the Caucasian Chalk Circle at Antias Theater. Yes. Yeah, I'm a actor here in Los Angeles, originally from Azerbaijan, of Armenian heritage, and it's really exciting to get to do a play that's set in the world that I came from years ago, and that I get to share some really authentic flavor from there.
Great, and which characters did you play?
My main character is Simon Khachaba, the soldier that's in love with Grusha, who's the lead in the play. Yeah, being a soldier, who he's different than the other soldiers because he's still, I think, loyal to the governor. But I think I've never been a soldier myself, so I think it's just really wanting to tap into what that could be like, and especially in this time that this play takes place. So trying to bring in that vulnerability and the strength that I really feel that the character embodies.
Great. If my viewers decide to come out and see this piece, what should they expect to see?
To come out to this piece? Well, you're going to see a lot of physical theater. You're going to see an ensemble of 16 actors who will put blood, sweat, and tears into this, working in unison and having each other's backs, and really telling an important story.
I like pictures. This piece is very charming. It has very wholesome values. You can actually bring children to it. It has a message behind it, and also it was very entertaining.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, there's certainly some portions that are a little, at least PG-13 moments, but yeah, absolutely. I think it's a story everyone can take something away from. Absolutely.
Well, again, I really enjoyed myself tonight. I enjoyed your performance also. Thank you very much for being on the show.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Ashton Marcus. I'm with KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine. And I'm here with...
Hi, my name is Gabriela Bonet, and I'm part of the Caucasian Chalk Circle cast. We've been in this process for 6 weeks now, and we're opening tonight at last, and we're going to be running until August 26th, and it's been very exciting and very revealing in the sense of as our craft as actors. I love it, and I think you should come. People should come and enjoy it and see it, and be excited as us.
Great, and which characters did you play?
I'm playing the singer, which is kind of a narrator, the mother, and different ensemble characters are needed. Yes.
Yeah, you also played the little boy too.
And Mikhail, which is the baby. I'm kind of his guardian angel, if you want to say it like that. But yes.
So what's your take on your favorite characters?
We've been studying what is Brecht's style and previous experiences. I did my master's in acting at USC. So just the instinct and whatever the character triggers in me, then I keep digging more in that and discovering more behavioral things, and I think that's how I do it.
Yeah. If my viewers decide to come out and see this piece, what should they expect to see?
A lot of excitement, a lot of questions, reflection about just justice and the meaning of it, and yes, I mean there's a lot of subjects that we discuss in the play. That is survival, is justice, is who owns what, but in a very clever and I think it's an experience. I think we get the audience to have an experience. So yeah, it's a new world. So you're gonna come see a new world.
I really enjoyed myself tonight. Plus, I really liked your performance. You threw yourself into it. You twisted your body into interesting forms. You put funny voices, and again, you really did a really good job performing tonight.
Thank you. One of the things was I really wanted to make sure that there was a difference between each of the characters that I'm representing, and yeah. Thank you very much. Yes, I really enjoyed that process of transforming.
Okay, once again, really love the performance, and I love your performance too. Thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you so much. Have a good one. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Ashton Marcus. I'm with KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine, and I'm here with...
Hey, Noel Arthur. I'm from the Caribbean. I'm from Trinidad and Tobago. This is my second play at Antilles. The last one I did was Native Son, and I play the Fat Prince and the first lawyer in this production.
What's your take on your favorite characters there?
I get to be a grotesque politician, and this plays a social commentary, a political commentary, and I think it's apropos to do a part like this right now. So he's my favorite. Also, the shapes that I get to do are physically entertaining to me, as well as trying to send a message to the audience.
If my viewers decide to come out and see this piece, what should they expect to see?
A spectacle, and they should expect to be entertained. They should expect to be taken on an epic journey, because that is what Brecht's worlds are. Epic journeys while he is getting you to think, basically, yes.
I was kind of curious on the style, because it seemed like, an old style play, like maybe like in the 1500s, where they basically go out and just entertain. They just go out on
provincial bread and puppet theater kind of. Yeah, well, I guess, yeah, you're right. That's why we kind of take it back old school and start where we started in the lobby, and kind of keep the audience off their equilibrium, because that's how things were. People were just starting. It wasn't about the set or production value. It's about the message, and it's about connecting to people at a one-to-one level. Yeah.
Also enjoyed the acting a lot, because again, the story was pretty basic. It was a good versus evil story. The characters, there's some interesting characters in there, but again, basically it was the acting who drove it. You know what I mean? Because it was a very broad. It was like almost went through like an entire war, an entire period of injustice, an entire period of that. And again, the actors drove it very well. That made it very entertaining and kept us captivated.
Yes. Yes, but it also came from our director, who put all of this together and encouraged us to be broad within a container that drove us to keep on telling the story. So I really want to give Stephanie Schroyer the credit of why we were able to be so committed and entertaining in this basic story.
Well, once again, I really enjoyed myself. Even though it was about war, it wasn't a tragedy, you know what I mean? Exactly. But it still was very light, but again, also it was very entertaining.
Cool, thank you very much, man. Thank you for coming.
All right, thank you very much for being on the show.
Cheers.
Hi, my name is Ashton Marcus. I'm KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine, and I'm here with...
Mehrnaz Mohammadi. Tonight was very exciting. It was like the opening night. It's just so exciting to work on a piece of like a play that, like a Brecht is an amazing playwright, and I was like so glad to be able to work on like his play.
Great. And which characters did you play?
I played Ludovica and the young lady.
If my viewers decide to come out and see this piece, what should they expect to see?
I think they should expect to see. They should expect to come and see humanity. I think that's what it is, and then get to actually like think about some questions. Yeah,
I think they'll see more of a movie than a theater piece, or actually more of a novel. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. It's very episodic. It's not. It doesn't happen in like a. It's not like a beginning, like middle and end. So you see like it's really it's like a movie. You see like a scene here with someone, and then you see close up, and then you see kind of in a white, like something in a white shot, which doesn't happen like in theater a lot. So yeah.
Yeah, also a lot of good acting, because again, the actors are the ones who basically carry through the entire story. Because the story wasn't dramatic, even though it was about war. It wasn't about death, you know what I mean? It wasn't about murder. It wasn't about, even though there was a little death in there and all that. Yeah. But basically, the actors carried it off very well, made it very entertaining. So I love you guys' performances.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I really appreciate it. Yeah.
Okay, well, also love your performance. Thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you so much.
Hi, my name is Ashton Marcus. I'm on KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine. I'm here with
Alex Knox. I grew up in Irvine, actually, and I'm an actor here in LA. I do audiobooks and theater here, and I'm excited to be part of the Antilles production of Caucasian Chalk Circle.
Great, and which characters did you play?
So I play Lavrenti, who is the brother of Grusha, who's the character we follow through the story. I also play a handful of other characters like a soldier and a doctor and a few others.
I really like the way the actors played this thing, because again, when you're a soldier in the middle of the war, first of all, you're either very heroic or you're really slimy and really barbaric and all that. But you guys played it, again, tough, realistic, but also not too, kind of PG-13. What were your thoughts on that?
Those were challenging characters because you, as a soldier, you can have any number of feelings about what's going on, the fact that you're there. And for my soldier, I sort of imagined how I would feel if I was thrown into a war zone, being a little bit shell-shocked, but trying to stay strong, and then being really surprised and delighted by this character Ozdak that shows up, and kind of having fun with that, and seeing how the audience reacts to him kind of is how I found my character, basically.
Yeah. If my viewers decide to come by and see this piece, what should they expect to see?
I think you're going to see something highly theatrical that is unusual, because we are not trying to hide the fact that we're doing a play. We are bringing you in, and you are almost a character in the play with us as the audience. We want to see how you're reacting. We will even perhaps talk to you before the show in the lobby and bring you in the theater. And there's a lot of music that the cast and ensemble created. There's movement. It's very physical. It's very fast and very athletic, and I think it's really kind of a great spectacle. It kind of feels like a big fairy tale to me, the story. It's kind of ancient and but yet has kind of these universal themes and interesting questions, and I hope it sparks some good discussion.
I think it was kind of like theater in the 1500s. You know what I mean? I mean, not a movie. It was more like the actors had to carry the entire play. You know what I mean? I mean, the piece was nice. It was entertaining, but it wasn't like everyone died at the end. So obviously the arc would just carry you there. No, the actors had to carry you, move you along, and be entertaining. You know what I mean?
Right. It's almost like you could imagine this play happening, this production, almost in any room, just with these actors coming in saying, "All right, we're going to do a play. Here we go. All we need is an empty space, and we'll have some instruments and maybe a few props, but we don't need much. We're here. We're going to provide the whole story and create the environment. We're going to have a very simple set. We're going to create a river for you. We're going to create the mountains. We're going to create a bridge that goes across a treacherous, crevasse." And I love that. I think that theater can happen anywhere as long as you have imagination and actors and an audience.
I agree. Once again, really loved the performance tonight. Very entertaining. Thank you very much for being on the show.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah, I really loved your performance also.
Oh, thanks very much. I had a great time. I love getting to work with this company, and I'm glad you were here.
The Caucasian Circle will be playing at the Antaeus Theater Company from July 11th to August 26th. For more information, go to www.antaeus.org. This is Ashton Marcus, and I'm on location at Will Geer's Theatricum Botanicum for their presentation of Heinrich Ibsen's An Enemy of the People.
Hi, my name is Ashton Marcus. I'm with KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine, and I'm here with
Christopher W. Jones. This has been an extraordinary process doing this play, and just like a multi-layered play that we've taken this. I'm Norwegian, so I've always enjoyed Ibsen plays, but it's the first time I actually performed in one. So the weight of it, and then putting this in the 1980s and adding the stain of the civil rights era and racism and the weight of that 27-layered burrito it's been one of the most challenging things I've ever done in my life. But it's been an extraordinary experience.
Great. Which character do you play?
I play Thomas Stockman. Thomas Stockman is a good man. He's a good doctor. He loves his family dearly. He's very excitable, and he believes in the truth, and he's so excited about being a part of the community. It's the thing that excites him the most. But he gets a little ahead of himself. He talks before he thinks, and in this play he takes things a little bit too far and stirs up some violence that almost gets them in trouble. But he's a dreamer, and he's a father, and he's a believer.
I love this take on Ibsen because the enemy of the people. Because basically, it's like your character is a bit
he's a bit too good. You know what I mean? But if you put him in the right situation, you put him in the South, you have him face racism. Suddenly, it just wakens it. It just makes it so relevant. You know what I mean?
Of course. The hard thing, we work so fast here, and sometimes we don't get to have as many conversations as we need to have about racism and the layers of how that affects every single character in this play. So, and especially in 1980, to have a mixed race family at this place in rural South Carolina, and what that would do. Now we're used to that. This family is very normal now. We see commercials now at the breakfast table with a mixed race family. So to put it at that time and to feel what that would have been like, I think is extraordinary. But it requires a lot of conversation. So we have to do extra work backstage when we're not in rehearsal to have these conversations because of the spirit of this place and how quickly we move. So that has been a challenge too, is really connecting with each person to make sure we're understood and all those gaps are filled, all that connective tissue comes together because it's so weighty. It's already weighty. Ibsen repeats himself 8 million times in every play, and then we put this on top of it, and there's a huge weight on it. There's a huge weight on us.
Yeah, well, there's still a lot of racism out there. You know, I mean, there's people. You know, there's still a lot of racism out there. But basically, if my viewers decide to come out and see this piece, what should they expect to see?
They should expect to see a very dynamic cast. They should expect to see a very uplifting experience. They should feel uncomfortable looking at some of this racism and how it's reflecting what we're looking at right now, with whether it be the Ku Klux Klan or our president or neo-Nazis or everything in between. People posing that and throwing dog whistles left and right. So you're going to come, you're going to feel a little uncomfortable at times, but you're also going to be lifted up at the spirit of this family and how they come together at the end.
Yeah, they'll also see basically dynamic, almost preaching, but preaching of, I wouldn't say about God, preaching about common sense, about fairness, about what happens when a family is threatened, about what happens when they're just about doing the right thing, and they'll be actually uplifted, they'll be encouraged, they'll be actually motivated to go out there and do the right thing. You know what I mean?
I love that. I think that's great. Stockman likes to talk about the categories that we put ourselves in as human beings, poor and rich, or black and white, and he really breaks it down as the most important thing is the educated and uneducated, and it's not a bad word at all. And the lowest, the commoners in society do not. The common people are really the uneducated people. So that's the argument, and he gets into some hot water over it. But I love that. I love your take on it. I love what you said.
Well, I loved your performance because first I loved your words. Almost like you were doing a rap, almost like you were singing a song, like a black musical or something like that. You were imitating like a black preacher or even the presidential candidate. So I just loved your performance tonight. I love the performance as a whole tonight. Thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. See you soon.
Hi, my name is Ashton Marcus. I'm with KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine. And I'm here with
Catherine Griffith. I'm playing Mildred Stockman, the mayor and older sister to the enemy of the people, and I think this play by Ibsen, as adapted by Ellen Geer, is very relevant for our times. You have the overly practical and the overly idealistic, and the divided city, the divided town, and even moderation is made fun of, and it brings up such important issues. And I play a little bit of the villain in it, but it's very exciting to do.
So what's your take on Mildred?
Mildred, I think she really loves the town. And, she says ideas a dime a dozen. You got to make them reality. You've got to, how can you make it practical? She's probably got some racism she doesn't know she has, but she does want to work with the people. And if you take away the people's income, she's concerned that, people are going to starve. But is she going to cut corners and shovel things under the rug that shouldn't be? So her position isn't totally right, but I think she genuinely loves her brother, genuinely loves her town, and wants the best, and is thinking of the practical part of things. She's a politician.
I agree. I love the way you played your character, because she was, again, when you become a politician, something happens to you. You might start off as a nice person,
But people change. I don't know if it's the power that changes it. I don't know if it's the people, the influence, the money that comes in. But whatever it is, the person just isn't the same again.
Do you know what it is? It's also you're used to working the practicality. You can say do this with people, but I know what they want. A politician like, let's say Nancy Pelosi, knows what you can say all you want with idealistic stuff, but what's really going to make it happen? You've got to acknowledge, you can't insult people. I think she's not the worst politician. I think she's probably got some money in the game, but I don't think greed is her major thing. I think the thriving of her town is. And you don't insult these people. You got to work with everyone, and you got to work with who people are. Ibsen also says about this play, he wants to bring up questions, not answers. So I think what's so wonderful, I hope everyone goes out thinking questions. Wow, which side? What do I think? How do I work with my people? Am I too idealistic? Am I too practical? How do you really listen to people? What needs to be done? What do you do when there's contamination in water or climate change or wars? But how do you deal with the practical element? Because if you don't get to that, you can't really always make the change.
I'm amazed at how relevant it is to modern day times.
Isn't it? It was written in like 1882 or something like that. And you think, boy, the human race, we don't change, do we? Oh my gosh, it is amazing. And Ibsen's like the father of modern drama. And I think Ellen picked the perfect era to put it in, and I said, why'd you pick South Carolina? And she says, because they were the state that still didn't allow interracial marriage, for the longest. And so that gives another whole element to it,
I love the performance. I loved your performance in particular, too, because you were the perfect foil. Kind of, a play isn't just about the hero. It's also about the antagonist.
Yes.
And you were the perfect antagonist for this.
Thank you. I loved it. It's almost like I'm more an idealist, frankly, but maybe my family has been a Mildred to me, and it's funny to play your shadow side or your demon side, and actually how easy it is that you've got this person in you, So,
once again, loved your performance. You're fantastic. Love the performance as a whole. Thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you for talking to me, and tell everyone to come.
Hi, my name is Ashton Marcus. I'm with KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine, and I'm here with
Ernestine Phillips. Yeah. I've been with the theater company for going on like 2 decades or something like that, and worked with Ellen many times, and she's one of those directors who find projects that not only entertain you, but they educate you. So you leave the theater knowing more than when you came. And it's absolutely wonderful because she believes in, diversity 100%. So to set this particular play, Enemy of the People, which is a European piece, into 1980s South Carolina, and then talk about the race issue is really new and innovative.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So which character do you play tonight?
I'm playing Mrs. Stockman. Mrs. Stockman is... grew up in this really segregated town. And interesting enough, South Carolina, during this time, was the last state to even accept interracial marriage. So now you have this very doctor, Dr. Stockman, who sees a black woman and has, and marries her. And we put up with all kinds of things before we're finally driven out of this town, and we come back like 8, years later. But she obviously really loves this guy because anybody else would have just, never come back. She would have taken her children with her and never come back. But she appreciates and is aware of his optimism and his wanting to, look through those rose-colored glasses and hope that he can make those kind of changes. And he really, really does by bringing the spa into being to help finance the town.
I love this take on Ibsen. It's like, because it highlights the racism about it. Because, again, that wasn't something you could really, it being in Europe, obviously. I mean, they could talk about racism in Europe. And it's like, oh, yeah, right, the Irish don't like the Polish. Oh, yeah, right. You know what I mean? But this one here, then it suddenly really matters. And it was just so beautifully done. It's so realistic.
You talk about the other side. We have the, Central Street, and on the other side of Central Street is where the black population is. And you see, it's no different. White supremacy, white nationalism, current administration, where white power. And even though this spa is really to help the entire town, the only jobs that the people of color can get, the black population, is janitorial and cleaning up after white people. So as I say, it's very, current for today. It's absolutely no different than what's being tried today of keeping their white nationalists keeping their foot on the necks of people of color.
Yeah. Well, again, I loved your performance. I thought, first of all, you're very realistic, very natural. Again, it looked like the two of you were married, and actually, I believe that your character influenced their husband a lot, because he sounded almost like a black preacher. And again, he was
there's no doubt about it. There is no doubt about it. She influenced him. I mean, you couldn't help it. If you're married to someone of a different ethnicity, then of course they will influence each other, but you have these two people who are pretty much soulmates. They're just in different packages, you know what I'm saying? And but what they have to put up with here in this town, just to live, and to really say, what, I'm staying. I'm going to stay, and we're not changing, you are.
If my viewers decide to come by and see this piece, what should they expect to see?
Well, I think you pretty much see current events. Not a whole lot has changed. We thought it had changed, but this particular production, and we see the administrative makeup of this town, of where once again white supremacy. The Klan is still active. Things are being run by white administrators, and the blacks in the town are getting the leftovers. That's what's happening. Mm-hmm.
Again, love the play, and basically, I've seen black theater before, and again, black theater is a little different. It actually has a tone to it, almost like a meter to it, and I heard the meter here, but this wasn't really a black play. It was a white man playing a black play, a white town playing a black play, a white theme, so it had the power.
I'll tell you the truth, it's not a black play. I mean, it has black elements in it, because in our country, we're diverse. You can't, there's no town where it's just, lily white. I mean, people of color are all over this country, and you cannot create laws without considering them. So it's not a black play. It has, black elements, and it has the elements, of course, of the spa that's going to kill everybody because of the greed. It's the greed of the white administration. Now that sounds real familiar to me.
Well, again, I love the play, and again, I agree. It wasn't a black play, because that was what I was trying to get to.
Not at all.
It was a play about people,
right?
About right or wrong. I mean, what are you going to do? You can do right or wrong.
They just happen to be an interracial couple, and because of it, there was still the overtones of the old South. Because 1980 was still pretty, current, but they hang on. They still flying the Confederate flags down there in 1980. They're still trying to hang on to the old South, where there's a white massa and everybody, all the black folk is the slave. They're trying to hang on to that.
Yeah, I agree. And you actually saw that in Ibsen too, the themes of that in Ibsen.
Mm-hmm.
But I just love the performance. I love the way you did it. So natural. So it was like a real family you were looking at, and you just played it just wonderfully.
Course. I mean, absolutely. It is a real, legitimate family. It just happens to be that he white, I'm black, and there's a bunch of interracial kids. Now the oldest girl here, she came already, when we married. So my husband, my first husband was a black man, and I already had her. But then when I married the white doctor, then we had, 3 more kids, interracial kids. So, I mean, when you look at the families today, my God, they're so diverse, and there's something really wonderful about it. You know what I mean? They're getting along just fine. They're happy. And until someone on the outside is looking in and trying to make a negative statement about them. But this family is so tight and love each other so much, even though Daddy's a little kooky and he go off in left field. Everybody used to that. You know what I'm saying? But that we ignore that this kind of negative mess in the town.
Yeah. Well, I love the performance. I love your performance also.
Thank
you
you
very much for being on the show.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Heinrich Ibsen's An Enemy of the People will be playing at Theatricum Botanicum from June 22nd to September 28th. For more information, go to www.theatricum.com.